It was a rainy Monday morning when everything began to change for me. The kind of rain that makes you want to stay in bed, wrapped up in blankets, listening to the rhythmic patter against the window. But life doesn't pause for weather, and neither did mine. I worked at First National Trust, a small but busy bank branch in the heart of town. My name is Alex Carter, and I've been a loan officer there for nearly 5 years. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but it paid the bills, and I liked the routine, until that day. The morning started like any other. I arrived early, sipping my coffee as I unlocked the front door. The air inside smelled faintly of cleaning products and old paper, a scent I'd grown used to over the years. Customers trickled in slowly, their umbrellas dripping onto the tiled floor, forming little puddles that Sarah, our cheerful receptionist, would mop up later. By mid-morning, though, someone caught my attention. He walked in just after 10 o'clock, shaking off his umbrella before stepping fully into the lobby. He wore a dark suit that looked expensive but not flashy, paired with a tie that had a subtle pattern. His hair was neatly combed, and his face carried an expression of quiet determination. There was nothing extraordinary about him at first glance, yet something about the way he carried himself made me curious. He wasn't nervous like some customers who came in for loans or angry like those disputing charges on their accounts. Instead, he seemed purposeful. "Good morning," Sarah greeted him warmly from behind the counter. "How can I assist you today?" "I'm here to speak with someone about opening a business account," he replied. His voice was calm and confident, with just a hint of curiosity. Sarah nodded and gestured toward the waiting area. "Of course. Please take a seat, and I'll let one of our officers know." As he sat down, I couldn't help but notice how he observed the room. Most people glanced around absent-mindedly while waiting, but this man studied everything: the posters on the walls, the layout of the desks, even the employees moving back and forth. It was almost as if he were trying to memorize the place. When Sarah called my name to handle his request, I felt a flicker of anticipation. Something told me this wouldn't be an ordinary meeting. I introduced myself and led him to my desk, which was tucked away in a corner of the main floor. "So," I began, pulling out the necessary forms, "you're looking to open a business account?" "Yes," he said, leaning forward slightly. "My name is Evan Carter, and I recently moved to town. I'm starting a consulting firm focused on helping local businesses grow. I figured it was time to set up proper banking arrangements." "That sounds exciting," I replied, genuinely interested. "What kind of consulting do you specialize in?" Evan smiled faintly. "Financial strategy, mostly. Helping companies manage cash flow, secure funding, and plan for long-term sustainability. It's rewarding work, especially when you see struggling businesses turn things around." His words struck a chord with me. Over the years, I'd seen countless clients come through the bank desperate for solutions to financial problems. Some succeeded, but many didn't. The idea of someone dedicating themselves to helping others navigate those challenges appealed to me more than I expected. We spent the next hour going over the details of the account setup. Evan asked thoughtful questions, clearly wanting to understand every aspect of the process. He wasn't pushy or impatient; instead, he listened carefully and responded with consideration. By the end of the session, I realized I hadn't just processed paperwork, I'd gained a new perspective on what it meant to truly engage with clients. Over the following weeks, Evan became a regular presence at the bank. Sometimes he stopped by to deposit checks or check balances, but often he lingered longer, asking questions about various services we offered or sharing updates about his growing client list. Unlike most customers, who treated us purely as service providers, Evan took a genuine interest in the people working there. He remembered names, asked about weekends, and even complimented Sarah on her knack for remembering faces. One afternoon, as we chatted near the water cooler, Evan mentioned a project he was working on. "I've been thinking about organizing workshops for local entrepreneurs," he explained. "A lot of them don't have access to resources or guidance when they're starting out. If I could connect them with mentors and experts, it might make a real difference." "That's a great idea," I said, surprised by how enthusiastic I sounded. Truthfully, I hadn't thought much about entrepreneurship since college, when dreams of starting my own business had felt exciting but distant. Now, years later, I was stuck in a rut, content with stability but yearning for something more. "You should join me," Evan suggested suddenly. "You know the ins and outs of banking better than anyone. Your insights could really help these aspiring business owners avoid common pitfalls." I hesitated, unsure whether I wanted to commit to something outside my usual responsibilities. "I don't know," I admitted. "It sounds interesting, but I'm not sure I have the time." Evan shrugged, unfazed. "Think about it. You never know, it might be fun." Fun wasn't exactly the word I'd use to describe my life at the moment. Fun meant spontaneity, risk-taking, and stepping outside comfort zones, all things I'd avoided since taking this job. But Evan's invitation lingered in my mind long after he left the bank that day. Eventually, I decided to give it a try. And that decision changed everything, for the better.